regular meeting of the Gibson County Legislative Body will please come to order. Good morning. Good morning. And happy New Year to everybody. We're glad to have everyone here this morning. Got a good crowd. We've got our youth leadership with us this year. We're excited about having them on their annual visit. And we've got a lot of business to conduct. So with that being said, at this time I'd like to call on Commissioner Keith Steele to lead us in prayer.
Let us pray. Our fair and gracious Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for those men and women here today that are elected to serve the people of Gibson County. Be with all of our employees as they conduct their jobs throughout the year. May they be safe in doing so. Be with this young group of leaders that are here today. Bless them and keep them safe. Dear Lord, be with us as we conduct the business of Gibson County. Be with us as we make these decisions. Help us, lead us, guide us, and direct us in all things. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Would you join me beside our pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Hughes.
Here.
Commissioner Eggers.
Here.
Commissioner Cunningham.
Here.
Commissioner Sykes.
Here.
Commissioner Longmire.
Here.
Commissioner Carr.
Here.
Commissioner Macklin.
Here.
Commissioner Bivens. Commissioner Tubbs.
Here.
Commissioner Martin.
Here.
Commissioner Cameron.
Here.
Commissioner Summers.
Here.
Commissioner Cole.
Here.
Commissioner Nance.
Here.
Commissioner Locke.
Here.
Commissioner Carter.
Here.
Commissioner Flake. Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Becky Ewing.
Here.
Commissioner Littleton.
Here.
Commissioner Pillar.
Here.
Commissioner Steele.
Here.
Commissioner Yergin.
Here.
Commissioner Childers.
Here.
Commissioner Moss.
22 present, 3 absent. We do have a quorum. I take it everyone received a copy of the minutes from our previous session in your packets. This time I'd like to entertain a motion to dispense with the reading of those minutes and approve. Motion made by Commissioner Steele, seconded by Commissioner Summers. All those in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. And opposed likewise.
Mayor, there's one error I see on those minutes. The third page at the very bottom, with respect to resolution number 9, it said motion passed, voice vote. That's not correct.
Under which resolution?
It's number 9.
You saying we roll call voted?
But no, we did roll call vote. It's on the very top of the next page, and the motion, the resolution failed.
Commissioner Hughes made a motion to amend the minutes on resolution 9 from the previous session to strike voice vote and amend to roll call vote. Motion's been made. I hear a second. Seconded by Commissioner Steele. All those in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. And opposed likewise. Thank you for noting that, Commissioner Hughes. Are there any further amendments? If not, I entertain a motion to approve the minutes as amended. Motion made by Commissioner Steele, seconded by Commissioner Summers. All those in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Thank you. We also received a copy of reports in our packets. I'd like to entertain a motion to dispense with reading of these reports and approve as presented. Motion made by Commissioner Macklin, seconded by Commissioner Tubbs. All those in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. And opposed likewise. Thank you. This time I'd like to recognize our youth leadership group that's with us here today. If you all would please stand and come forward, we're going to ask you to introduce yourselves to the commissioners. We're going to ask the commissioners to do likewise. We're always excited to have you all here with us today to see how our county government is operating and how the decisions are made. So we appreciate you being here.
Where would you like me to go?
Yeah, we'll just kind of turn around that way, or y'all come up on the stage. Just come up on the stage. We want to put you on the stage. We're going to put you in the spotlight. We're proud of you. If you would just state your name and what school you represent, we'll just start at this end and work our way down.
My name's Logan Staley from South Gibson County High School.
My name is Taylor Marvin. I'm from Peabody High School.
I'm Lauren Smith. I'm from Trenton Peabody.
I'm Emily Campbell. I'm from Trenton Peabody. I'm Hannah Moore and I'm from Bradford.
I'm Mallory Tidwell. I'm from Bradford.
Cameron Pruitt, and I'm from Bradford.
I'm Tom Witherspoon. I'm from Gibson County High School.
I'm Olivia Kaufman from Milan High School.
I'm Taylor Kelly from Gibson County.
I'm Tatum Shepard from Milan High School.
Sydney Inman from Gibson County.
I'm Tamia Spinks from Milan High School.
I'm Madeline Anderson from South Gibson County High School.
I'm Alexis Williams from Gibson County High School.
Laquina Cox from Humboldt High School.
Leslie Bell from Humboldt High School.
Dakota Jackson from Milan High School.
Logan Fortenberry from South Gibson County High School.
Well, we're thrilled to have you all here today, and we appreciate you being active leaders in your schools and your communities, and stepping out front and taking an active role. So I think you all deserve a warm round of applause. If you would, I'm going to start with Commissioner Hughes, and if you would just stand and introduce yourself and tell us what district you represent and what area you're from, and we'll just work our way down.
My name is Steve Hughes. I'm a graduate of Milan High School, and I represent District 1, Position 1, which is in the Medina area.
Good morning. Thank y'all for being here. My name is Eric Egbert, and I represent District 1, also Position 2, which is the Medina District.
Good morning. I'm Larry Kimmery. I represent District 9, which is kind of east and north and west and south of Trenton.
I'm Marvin Sykes. I represent District 2, Humboldt.
I'm William Smith. I represent District 14 in Milan. We have 4 districts in Milan. And if your family votes at the First Assembly of God Church, I'd be your commissioner.
My name is Nelson Macklin. I represent District 5 in Humboldt. If your family votes at Lane Chapel Church in Humboldt, I'd be your commissioner.
I'm Nelson Cunningham. I'm District 1, Position 3, Medina. Welcome.
Ricky Locke, District 11, represent Trent part of Trenton, Milan, Bradford, Stillbone.
I'm Lynn Picard, District 4 in Humboldt, vote at St. James Baptist Church.
I'm Lynn, Lynn Nance, District 11, and mine's all rural.
I'm Bobby Cotton from Milan, District 12, Ward 1. So if you live on the south side of Milan and your parents vote at the Milan Express, I would be your commissioner.
I'm Mike Longmire, District 3, Humboldt, so if your family votes at Bailey Park, I would represent that area.
I'm Kevin Morgan from District 8. I'm in the southwest part of Gibson County toward Alamo and Dyersburg.
I'm Keith Steele, and I'm District 17, which would be Bradford and Idlewild. We appreciate y'all coming.
I'm Tony Phil. I represent District 16, Position 2. It covers Rutherford and Yorkville and Brazil area.
I'm Lynn Cole, represent the City of Trenton, District 10, one of 2 positions in Trenton.
Don McEwen, District 15, north side of Milan.
I'm Robin Summers. I graduated from Peabody High School, home of the 2A state champions this year, Roll Tide, and I represent Trenton, District 10, Position 2.
I'm Noah Yergin. I represent District 18 from Kennon all the way to Laneview. I'm glad to have y'all here.
I'm Cody Childress. I represent District 19, Position 1, which is the city of Dyer and the surrounding county.
I'm Jason Tubbs. I represent District 7, which is the Fruitland area. Glad to have you.
Todd Littleton. I'm District 16, Position 1, northwest corner of Gibson County. Glad to have y'all with us.
Is that everybody? while we're introducing, Greg, I'm gonna ask you to stand. I'd like to introduce everybody formally to our new Director of Finances, Greg Pella. Greg started work Friday, and he's hit the ground running for us. We told him it's gonna be a baptism of fire the second day coming to the county commissioners meeting, but I'm excited to have Greg with us, and Greg's gonna do us a great job and continue the good work we've done at keeping our fiscal house in order. And I think Greg brings with him 28 years experience in the private sector in budgeting and accounting management, and I think that the fast-paced environment he's worked in is going to serve us well as a county. And you guys are going to be working closely with Greg, and he's going to be offering reports to us. We're going to get into some of the changes we've already decided to make a little bit later on as we get into some of the resolutions. But I'm excited about the future of Gibson County, and excited about what 2015 is going to hold for us. I really am. I'm very optimistic. Greg, we appreciate you coming on board with us.
Thank you. Proud to be here.
Thank you. Well, you guys met everyone, and just to give you a brief summary of what goes on here, these representatives have been duly elected to be in charge of our county finances, not just finances, but also in charge of our county policies, employee policies, just the way we approach business in general. We as a county, the highway department included, we have about $22 million a year in budget to disperse that comes in. They decide how that gets set up, how it gets budgeted. They're in charge. If I need something, if I need money for a project, be it an economic development project or just improvements to buildings or repairs or whatever needs to be done, these are the representatives we come to and present those projects, and they approve it or not approve it and offer guidance in doing so. And we here in Gibson County government, not all county governments are the same, but we have very active committees. We got a big county. We got 10 municipalities that we deal with, and we're a big county in terms of geography. So we got a lot of people to serve, and I depend heavily on my committees to help me make decisions. We've already had several important decisions already. We're 4 months in, a little over 4 months into a 4-year term, and we've already had several very important issues that we've had discussed with our committees. Our committees will bring their recommendation to the full body and for their consideration, and then we take a vote on it. And you're going to see as we get into our resolutions, and we've got a lot of them today, that this is where the business is discussed. It's done openly, and I'm very proud of the fact that we do conduct business in an open way, in a clear and transparent way. And I think, in my opinion, that the more discussions we can have here in public, the better off we are as a county, and the more harmonious we are, and the more peace that it garners. And as I work with other counties, and I travel to my state functions, and I engage other county mayors, I hear of all this turmoil and strife that they have to deal with, and we just don't have that in Gibson County. We really don't. We all work well together, and we have our differences occasionally, but we work through them and move forward. We respect each other, and that's how we conduct business. I'm very proud of that. So, that being said, do you guys have any questions? Any students have any questions they'd like to ask the commissioners or me or anyone else? Anybody? I know you got some questions. Floyd always likes to add. Floyd, would you like to add anything?
How about waiting my report?
Okay, that'd be
I bet
fine.
they're tired of standing up.
That'll be fine. Guys, we appreciate you. Thank you. Believe it or not, guys, not too long from now, trust me, I know you're going to be in charge. You're going to be some of the representatives sitting in this body or sitting at this bench, and it's going to be your turn. So I wish I'd have paid closer attention and got a better education if I'd known this was going to happen. All right, we're going to move along. We have another very distinguished guest with us here today. We have Mr. Ken Fisher, who's going to speak with us about the Milan mustard seed expansion of soup kitchen. Ken, Mr. Ken, are you here? There you are. Would you like to come forward and just speak to us a little bit about what you guys have going on? I've visited mustard seed several times, and I've taken several items by there, and it's a very, very good service to the community, and we're lucky to have it.
Well, first of all, thank you for the invitation, Mayor and Commissioners. I'd like to thank Commissioners Cunningham and Cottom for making this arrangement. I believe it's in your packet, what we presented to you. I'd just like to go through this. I know you have a busy agenda today. The Milan Mustard Seed Board, of which I'm a member, has voted to expand its operation and include a soup kitchen. This is necessary because of the increased demand for the services we provide, which include, in this past year, we have served over 2,000 families consisting of over 6,400 individuals, and we served over 96,000 pounds of food. That comes up to about 2,000 pounds of food a week. We serve utility assistance over 500 households, totaling $87,000. Rent assistance to people needing help with their rent, over 47 households, and we serve them with $7,561. We have a thrift store that the revenue was $62,118, and that covers our expenses. So donations made to the mustard seed do not go into any of our expenses that we have. We do have 2 salaried employees and 3 part-time employees. Their salaries are way under that total dollar value. We have been in existence since 1973. We are ecumenical and we are transparent. What I mean by the transparency, if you are considered a thrift store like us, United Way, any organization is welcome to come and look at our books, see where we get our money, see where we spend our money. We're ecumenical. This organization was started in a broom closet in the Methodist Church in Milan in 1973. 4 of those ladies that started this are still volunteers. They're in their 90s now. They come every day. The mustard seed is open. I've been there for 7 years. I retired 7 years ago. This thrift store is amazing. A pair of jeans was $1 7 years ago. It's still $1. So it serves a great need for the community, for those looking for those who are in the underprivileged class. This expansion that we're talking about, our building currently is 4,800 square feet. We have purchased property and we've been given lots of property and we're going to expand south of our current building. We're going to add 3,600 square feet. We have architectural plans. We went out to 3 local contractors, and the successful bidder that we've awarded the contract to has made plans to start construction when we get enough money to go. We have approval from the City Planning Board to give us a variance for this property so that we will put in an addition to our thrift store, and we will add a soup kitchen. This soup kitchen idea started with a gentleman, Paul Poole, who saw the need in our community. If any of you have ever been down to Rifa and Jackson, that's a model we're going to use for our soup kitchen. We see a great need. We need a grand total of $400,000 to do this. And we've already gone to the city board in Milan, and they unanimously voted to give us $25,000. We are asking the county to match that $25,000. If there are any questions that you have of me, or if I can't get them, I'll get you the answer. If there's any questions you'd like to present this time, I'll be glad to try to answer.
Mr. Kim, when you guys plan on breaking ground?
Well, that's under God's plan. I don't know the exact timing, but we will have to have, and our board hasn't met to set the limit of which we would have to have. We are right now at $50,000. So we're just going to have to see. I've talked to the contractor just recently. He's already mapped out the property as far as how it would have to be leveled, and hopefully we can start this spring when the weather breaks. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Is this a one-time deal or is it going to be annual?
This is a one-time deal. What we would like to do is like we've done before. We had never gone to the city government or this county for one nickel because we have been able to match the needs with our thrift store and donations with people of Milan and the surrounding. I don't live in Milan. We serve, I would like to add, a lot of people are looking at potential negatives that this is a Milan operation. We serve now lots of people that do not live in Milan. I don't live in Milan. This is an organization that branches out. We don't question where you're from if you need help. United Way came to us last year and asked us to take on Humboldt utility assistance because of our transparency to them. And so we now serve Humboldt under the utility assistance program.
How many meals would you serve?
We would serve 1 meal a day, 5 days a week. One thing, the model that I love about Rifa's model, and we will follow, we will open our soup kitchen to any organization. For instance, there's a church in Jackson that uses it on Tuesday night because people, half the citizens of Gibson County don't go to church. And they won't go to a church building for a meal, but they would come to an organization like the Soup Kitchen. So this church sees it as an opportunity to offer food to people, and they come, that we would offer our church building, our mustard seed building to any organization that would want to use it. One of the wonderful things about a soup kitchen is organizations can use it as an employee. But one day I was down at the Rifle, and we hope to do this, is an automobile dealer in Jackson's employees came to work and serve in the soup kitchen. We would love to invite the county court to pick a day of the month to come, and you commissioners could serve in the soup kitchen. This would be a wonderful thing for you to do, I believe. And this is one of our plans, is to provide that for any organization, any group to come and help us. Because the wonderful thing about the mustard seed are the volunteers. And that's the wonderful thing about the Christian model for feeding the poor, is that you have volunteers. People with some means make donations to get the food, to get the building, but then the volunteers come to work. See, all the people who work in the thrift store are volunteers. And so we would welcome you the opportunity to come and serve in that capacity too. Any other questions?
I've got a budgeting question. Ms. Anita, correct me if I'm wrong, wouldn't this money have to be set up and advertised with the rest of our nonprofit? Okay.
They meet all the criteria.
When would this money when do you need the money to start this?
The commitment would be good for now, but we would be looking at payment plans to the contractor, and we still need more money for the architect to complete the designs. So potentially mid 2015, in that range. But a commitment is going to be good enough for, I don't know how many bankers we have in here, but the commitment, by the way, we have not yet received the City of Milan's check, but we're counting on it because of their, they made the commitment to give us $25,000.
I was just thinking, would we not be better off to put this in the next year's budget? We need to do that, budget time comes for next year.
Are you on a calendar year budget? Are you saying 2016?
Yeah, July.
July 1st. Yeah. That would be fine. And Chairman Longmire, well, we hadn't really discussed dates, but our budget hearing process usually begins the end of April, 1st of May, somewhere in that area. So that would be a good time for it to be considered. Mr. Cotton.
Of course, Ken and I have been talking about this, and I wanted him to come just to hear what they were doing, but I did tell him, and I am a member of the budget committee, and I did tell him that I want him to come to give all the information he could about it, and that if the commission felt like that we could do something, we would consider it, but it might be a budget 15-16 before we could actually make an obligation to them, if we could make that obligation. And he understands that he's coming with an open mind, saying, whatever the county can do, and it may be that we can't, it may be that we can. So I just want all the commissioners to know, that this is something that he's aware of, that we might, as a county, have to work on, and he understands it might be after our budget process before we can make, and that goes back, Mr. Ford, to your, to what you asked. So I just wanted to clarify that, because he and I have talked, and he's aware of how this board and how the budget works.
And in all fairness, we've had several additional requests this year from nonprofits, and during our nonprofit night of the hearings, I think we're going to have several be here and to be discussed. So, but I can't think of a more worthwhile group of organizations to support than the Mustard Seed. I've been there several times, and I've seen how it's benefited the people firsthand. So, yeah, I think that would be the best way to move forward with it. Mr. Ken, we appreciate you being here today. We appreciate all your work with the Mustard Seed.
I appreciate the opportunity to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This time, I don't have it on the agenda, but we have Ken and Leah with the Carl Perkins Center with us here today. I think just want to be recognized and say thank you for the support the county commission has offered them over the years. And I think they brought us some donuts that are on the back table back there. Always glad to see them. So if you would just stand and be recognized.
My name is Leah Blackford, and I'm the Gibson County Carl Perkins Center Director. And I just wanted to come and just see some faces and say thank you for everything that you guys have done for us over the years. We've served since July 1. We served 500 individuals in Gibson County, and we're able to expand our services because of your support. So I just wanted to say thank you, and we brought some donuts, and I'm also going to put some brochures back here if anyone wants one. That's all.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate all you guys do. And I can say that Leah is a very forgiving person. The first day I met her was in my office, and I've been shredding documents for about 2 hours. We were behind on it, and in fact, Commissioner Shelton came in, who's the budget chairman then, wanted to know if the feds were on the way. He saw me shredding. I said, no. I said, if the feds were on the way, I'd be setting fire to the courthouse. But I was shredding documents and had been doing it for 2 hours solid. And Leah, God bless her, came in and to meet me, and she said, I've got a newsletter I want to give you. I just did. She was so proud of it.
I wanted to invite him to our dinner in Austin. I was so excited. So excited to meet him for the first time.
And she sits down, hands me this beautiful newsletter, and she's talking, and I'm listening to her. And while she's talking, I stick that newsletter in the shredder with her sitting right there. Look at me. Well, her jaw drops. Well, I turn around and grab the newsletter and get it pulled out, and it's all tattered and torn. And I said, I am so sorry. I said, you'll email that to me. And she said, what for? So you can delete it? And I said, but she took it in stride, and she's a
I was worried about you before I met you, so it's okay.
well, I'm glad you had fair warning anyway. So. But we appreciate all your hard work.
Thank you, guys.
Chairman,
Thank you.
we have Mr. Lee Williams, Sam McCommer's here. We thank the rest of us.
Oh yeah, that would be Lee. Where are you? Right, Lee would stand. Lee is our new Humboldt Chamber Director, and I've been working with Lee very closely, especially on this Invest Prep grant that we're going to talk about here in a minute. And Lee may have some input, or I may look to him for some input on this. But Sherry McCarter started that, and when she left to take a position with USDA, Lee stepped in, and he stepped up to the plate and hadn't heard a complaint out of him. We've got a lot of wrangling to do on this grant, and a lot of moving parts to it to keep up with. And Lee, I appreciate your hard work and look forward to working with you in the future with the chamber.
Same here.
Yeah, all right. Thank you. All right, where are we now? Budget transfers. We do have a budget transfer request in our packets. Going from the ambulance department legal notices into ambulance department part-time personnel in the amount of $150. Motion has been made to adopt it by Commissioner Steele, seconded by Commissioner Longmire. All those in favor vote by saying aye. Aye. And opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to resolutions. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to dispense with the reading of resolutions. Motion made by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Steele. All those in favor vote by saying aye. Aye. And opposed likewise. Resolution number 1. Resolution number 1 is a resolution to set up grant budget for airport layout plan for Gibson County Airport, an amount of $4,045 in the form of a 5% match. Do I hear a motion on resolution number 1? Motion made by Commissioner Kimmerer, seconded by Commissioner Morgan. Any discussion on resolution number 1? If not, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Egbert,
Yes.
Commissioner Cunningham,
Yes.
Commissioner Sykes,
Yes.
Commissioner Longmire,
Yes.
Commissioner Carr,
Yes.
Commissioner Macklin,
Yes.
Commissioner Tubbs,
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan,
Yes.
Commissioner Cameron,
Yes.
Commissioner Summers,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Nance,
Yes.
Commissioner Locke,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner McEwen,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Pillar,
Yes.
Commissioner Steele,
Yes.
Commissioner Garrity,
Yes.
Commissioner Chilton,
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Resolution number 2 is a resolution to authorize Gibson County Mayor to enter into a new contract with Swanson Services Corporation for commissary services at the Gibson County Correctional Complex. Do I hear a motion on resolution number 2? Motion made by Commissioner Smith and seconded by Commissioner Kimmerer. All those in favor vote by saying aye. Aye. And opposed, like sign. Thank you. Resolution number 3 is a resolution to budget insurance recovery funds to replace Sheriff's Wreck Patrol vehicle. Do I hear a motion on resolution number 3? Motion made by Commissioner Smith, seconded by Commissioner Macklin. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Egbert,
Yes.
Commissioner Cunningham,
Yes.
Commissioner Sykes,
Yes.
Commissioner Longmire,
Yes.
Commissioner Carr,
Yes.
Commissioner Macklin,
Yes.
Commissioner Tubbs,
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan,
Yes.
Commissioner Cameron,
Yes.
Commissioner Summers,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Nance,
Yes.
Commissioner Locke,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner McEwen,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Pillar,
Yes.
Commissioner Steele,
Yes.
Commissioner Jurgen,
Yes.
Commissioner Chilton.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Resolution number 4 is a resolution to budget additional grant funds for Gibson County Health Department for part-time personnel, amount of $1,200. Do I hear a motion on resolution number 4? Motion made by Commissioner Longmire, seconded by Commissioner Summers. Is there any discussion?
Mayor, just a clarification, this appears to be just an addition to a previous grant that's already been voted on, but I wonder, are there any hidden costs associated with this? In other words, this money's coming from the state for this employee, and is there some limit as to how long this employee is gonna serve the county? Or after this grant is used up, this employee, I assume, will go on the county payroll? And one other question, does this employee receive, or are they on the county health program?
Ms. Anita, would you like to expand on that? Did you hear Mr. Commissioner Hughes' question?
To my knowledge, this is a program that she teaches, this lady teaches for breastfeeding of infants. And when the grant goes away, I can't tell you whether or not that the health department director will request that this continue. Now, in the past, I can tell you that they have not had a person to do this. But that's about all I can tell you. When the grant expires, well, that'll be up to you to say whether or not she keeps the position if the health department asks for it.
Do you know whether this person's on the county insurance, health insurance?
They wouldn't be on the county insurance.
No.
It's not, in the health department.
If they're part-time, they're not.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Any further questions? If not, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Egbert,
Yes.
Commissioner Cunningham,
Yes.
Commissioner Sykes,
Yes.
Commissioner Longmire,
Yes.
Commissioner Carr,
Yes.
Commissioner Macklin,
Yes.
Commissioner Tubbs,
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan,
Yes.
Commissioner Cameron,
Yes.
Commissioner Summers,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Nance,
Yes.
Commissioner Locke,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner McNeil,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Steele,
Yes.
Commissioner Yergin,
Yes.
Commissioner Childs.
Yes. Motion carries, thank you. Resolution number 5 is a resolution to receive and budget $2,203 in state grant money from Gibson County Memorial Library. Do I hear a motion on resolution number 5? Motion made by Commissioner Longmire and seconded by Commissioner Morgan. Is there any discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Egbert,
Yes.
Commissioner Cunningham,
Yes.
Commissioner Sykes,
Yes.
Commissioner Longmire,
Yes.
Commissioner Carr,
Yes.
Commissioner Mason,
Yes.
Commissioner Tubbs,
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan,
Yes.
Commissioner Cameron,
Yes.
Commissioner Summers,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Nance,
Yes.
Commissioner Locke,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner McNeil,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Steele,
Yes.
Commissioner Yergin,
Yes.
Commissioner Childs.
Yes. Motion carries, thank you. Resolution number 6. Resolution number 6 is a resolution to set up additional funds for accumulated time owed to retiring budget director, Ms. Anita Van Dyke. And I know there's going to be several questions on this. I've received several already. This time I entertain a motion on resolution number 6. Motion made by Commissioner Longmire, seconded by Commissioner Cole. Is there any discussion?
Time?
Yes, sir.
This time, is it figured to the last, or is it figured from time accumulated?
As far as the amounts figured on her salary today, isn't that right, Ms. Anita?
Yes.
Yes.
Is that the way that it's supposed to be done?
The body can vote to amend this resolution to pay her on a prorated basis, and we could go back and look at what her salary was when the accruement of time began and make an adjustment. I don't know how much that would be, probably not a lot. You're not looking at a lot of difference in it, but that's something that we would have to go back and look into, and I've talked to Director Pillow about that, and if it's the will of this body to do so, then we could go back and amend it and take a look at what we would owe her at that rate.
Is this over the allowed time that we do for all the other employees in the county?
Her comp time hours are a little above that. According to the employee handbook, they're allowed to accrue 240 hours. The annual leave days are way above what the employee handbook says, but Ms. Van Dyke does have a letter from previous Mayor Shepherd giving her permission to do so. And I'll say this, Ms. Anita has worked those hours. There's no doubt about it, she's worked those hours. She's provided 136 pages of documentation to verify it. I've signed off on almost all those time sheets. If there's any that's not signed, then it's my fault because they have to stay on me all the time about signing time sheets. But there's not a doubt in my mind she's worked those hours. I think the letter from Mayor Shepherd gives her the right to do so. As to why the hours were needed, we could debate that all day long. But she has worked those hours and she's done us a good job.
How far back does this go?
I'd have to open up the, Ms. Anita, can you tell us how far back those times, what's the earliest time sheet? Do you remember the date on that?
2003, I believe.
2003. So 12 years back. And we've dealt with these issues before, and I'm gonna take this opportunity. One of the first things I discussed with Director Pillow, I think it would be incumbent on all of us, and I've asked Director Pillow to address this as quickly as possible, to reach out to all of our department heads and get our arms around this comp time situation and assign a figure to it. Because as it is now, I have no idea what that figure is. And in fact, I don't know how many more letters Mayor Shepherd gave to other employees. I'll be honest with you. I don't know how many exist. I didn't know of the existence of that letter until it was produced with this resolution. So it's something I'm going to ask Director Pillow to do as quickly as possible. And in fact, we should make that part of our financial report from the mayor's office. There's room on that sheet to do it. you guys need to be aware of it, and every 2 months you should be given a figure. This is what we're looking at. You know, if all those employees were to quit or retire at the same time, you know, what would we owe? You know, what's our exposure to that? That's something we've never done, and I'm gonna tell you, it's something that's kept me up at night. You know, because I really don't know what that figure would be. I could guesstimate, but we really don't know what that figure is, and that should be part of our report, our bi-monthly report, just like every other figure we looked at. And I think Director Pillow's going to do a good job of wrangling those figures for us, and with the cooperation of all the department heads. But we got to do a better job of realizing what our exposure is, and I think you would all agree on that. I don't think there's anybody that disagree on that figure.
I think it'd probably be a good time to look at our policy and see if we need to change it.
Well, you're right about that, and if you'll look at the policy, and if you guys don't have a copy of the policy, I'll be glad to provide you with one. But it says this policy applies to all departments except, and then it lists every department except my department. So every elected official has the right to set their own policy, so to speak, and I respect their authority to do that. But I'm going to ask for their cooperation and assigning a figure to that comp time and just actually find out what their policy is. Now, that's something you guys need to know. I mean, you're in charge of the budget and setting that budget up, and we've got a good fund balance now. You know, our county's in good shape, but we've got that figure that needs to be addressed. I mean, it's an elephant in the room that hadn't been discussed, and it's out there. It's a number that's out there, and we need to look at it and do a better job of managing that. And I'm as guilty as anybody for not pushing harder to get that done over the past 4 years. But that's something we're going to look at, and hopefully by the time we come to our next meeting in March, we'll be able to give you that figure. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't be able to do that. In fact, we're having a Wednesday, we're having a department head meeting right here, and you guys are welcome to attend 2 o'clock Wednesday afternoon, and you're welcome to be here. We're going to talk about some of the issues we're facing as department heads, and we're going to talk about some of the things I'm going to ask Greg to be doing, and I'm going to ask them for their cooperation in doing that, and I see no reason why they wouldn't. I mean, all of our department heads work well together, but it's just like that number, the figure we're looking at the courthouse that we're going to get into here in a little bit, the longer that building study goes, the higher that number's getting, and those are 2 figures, our comp time exposure and the work we're going to have done on that courthouse are 2 numbers that are kind of keeping me up at night. So, hopefully by our March meeting, I'll be able to give you firm numbers on both. I'm hoping that's the case. Mr. Bill.
Mayor, in the policy, does it have any statute of time that this can be carried over? I mean, is that stated in there anywhere, 10 years, 5 years?
I don't recall there being any limit. The only limit is the amount of hours that you can carry over. Yeah. The amount of hours and the amount of days of leave that you can carry over. In my opinion, I mean, I don't know how we can arrive at that, but all the new employees that I've hired, all the department heads I've hired, they're coming in under the agreement, and just as Greg did, just as Chief Kathy did, Director Arnold did, that any overtime worked as a department head will be paid back to them in the form of paid time off. And to me, that's the best way to approach it. And that budget director's job, in my opinion, done efficiently, shouldn't require any overtime except during the budget hearings. When we ask them to be out here at night and work the budget hearings. At that time, all the hours that are worked during the budget hearing will be given back to Director Pillow in the form of paid time off when the schedule permits. And I think that's the fairest way to do it. Chief Kathy does that, Director Arnold does that, and everybody's satisfied with it, and it doesn't cost us anything. And so, that's where we are now. And any previous agreements I didn't have anything to do with, I can't really do a lot about. But all the new employees that have come in, I've looked at it as sort of a stopgap measure and establish new ground and new policy. So that's kind of where we are.
Annual leave time, Mayor, is that?
Vacation time, yeah, vacation time is what that would be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, unused vacation is what that is. And in my opinion, in the private sector where I work, we've always had an annual use it or lose it policy. You know, if you either use your vacation or lose it. I have worked at a few places that would allow you to sell back your unused vacation, but I'm a big believer in use it or lose it. It's just easier. I mean, it's just easier and more effective, and it requires a lot less headache and paperwork. And if it's the will of this body to adopt such a policy in the upcoming budget session, we need to talk about it during the budget hearings. And in fact, we may need to, Commissioner Longmire, set aside some time one night to discuss employee policy. But again, it's hard to enforce policy on an elected official. They've got the authority to set up their own policy, but you guys control the purse strings.
We
So
control the money, right?
you control the purse strings, you do. And so that's how that relationship should work. So I think any recommendation you guys make in terms of policy, in terms of employee policy, I think would be received. I think it would be well received by the other department heads. I know I don't want you cutting my budget, so I'll be glad to adopt any policy that's deemed fair by this body. Commissioner Summer.
Annual leave that each county employee has each year, is it the same for everybody? And if so, what is it, Tom?
I'm gonna be honest with you, I can tell you what mine is, but I can't speak to the other elected officials. I mean, it's, like I said, that policy's kinda all over the map, you know, but it's something that we can, come back with you a firmer answer on once we have this department head meeting and we request the information we're gonna need from them to offer you guys a report. As it is now, I don't have that information. I don't have the information, the permission, or the authority to provide that to you now, but I'm hoping to have it Wednesday after we have a department head meeting here. Yes, sir. Commissioner Hughes.
Mayor, I want to start with saying that these comments are nothing personal against Miss Lanita, because I know she's done a tremendous job for this county in the last 20 years. And when I started this job a few months ago, I went to some previous county commissioner and asked them, you know, what do I do? What do I do now that I've been elected? And almost all of them said, well, if you don't know, ask Miss Lanita, because she knows what's going on. So I definitely want her to have every dime that she's entitled to. But having said that, when I first read this resolution, it's a very unusual request. When you compare this request to anything that I'm used to seeing in the private business world, it's just non-existent for anything like this to happen. And because Miss Lanita is essentially one of us, I think that we have a fiduciary duty to the people that we represent for them to know that we've investigated this and that what we're doing is the right thing to do. And that we're not just rubber stamping this, one-page resolution that we've looked at. I would like an opportunity before we vote on this to be able to tell my constituents, I've looked at this policy, this written policy. I've looked at this letter from the previous mayor. I've looked at these time entries. And I can say in good conscience that I have investigated and I agree with whatever the number is that she's supposed to be paid. I did a little rough math calculations trying to in my head with the limited information I had, try to figure out the numbers, and I wasn't able to do it. I wasn't able to get within about $7,500 of that number based upon the limited information I have, which is her salary that's just below $50,000 that we were given in the last meeting. So what I would propose is that we table this resolution, get the documentation to us, and then come back and vote on it.
Second that.
Motion has been made and seconded to table the resolution pending additional documentation. You would like a copy of the employee handbook, the letter giving her permission to accrue the time, and a list of her time sheets.
Yes, sir.
And I have all that, and like I said, it's 136 pages long. I've got it in electronic format, and this is a good opportunity, and all your comments are valid. And this is a good opportunity to segue into the legal aspect of this request. And it's something that Floyd and I have talked about at length over the past couple of weeks. And this is my opinion. And Floyd, I think you're going to echo my opinion. I think that the documentation she's provided, if this is voted against by this body, I think she has the documentation. I think she has a letter of agreement that once appealed will get her a win. And that's just my experience with the Department of Labor. They don't rule with government. They just don't. And I think that, and if you'll remember, we made a similar request for some documentation on some time requested by the Sheriff's Department, by the outgoing sheriff. We've yet to receive that documentation. I think Ms. Lanita's documentation is solid. That's my opinion.
and Mayor, we're gonna need documentation wise, we're gonna need to know what her salary level was for each of those time entries. In other words, if the time entries start 10 years ago, we're gonna need to know what was the salary level at that time versus what is it at this time and how it grew in order to make it.
And that won't be a lot of trouble to do it, and it's, well, it's gonna be some trouble, but we can go back and note on the time sheets when the salary was increased, or what the salary was at that time. Anytime there's a change, we'll start on that page reflecting that change. And Greg, that'll be something for you to do, and you can approach that however is best for you. You know way more about that than I do. We got a question, Mr. Cunningham?
Yeah, the recent audit with your office, was that audit containing this information? That you found it was free and clear that your office was in good standing. Did that include this information?
They had access to all this information, yes.
You know, whether they reviewed it in detail
Don't
or
know
not?
whether they reviewed it or not. Now, I have asked, I have had it reviewed by one of our audit committee members, and I haven't really heard a lot of, I haven't put back about that.
So it really pertains to what your policy was and the previous previous mayor.
That is correct. Commissioner Mackey, do you have something to add?
Yes, sir. I think this is just a way of prolonging us not paying Mr. Anita, or I'm sure everything he's saying is true, but it's already been investigated by an attorney. If not, I don't think it would be in front of us, and I think we should just vote on it and be through with it.
Well, we've got a motion and a second to table the resolution at this time. I'm gonna go ahead and, Commissioner Sykes?
Yeah, I just wanted, the letter from the previous sheriff, is it legal and binding? Is it a legal document that it is? Number two is, did we have a policy and did we follow it? Do we have a policy that covers this and did we follow it?
We have a policy. This doesn't reflect that policy, but she does have a letter, a contract, so to speak, with the previous mayor giving her permission to accrue this time. So she's got a waiver, so to speak, to give her permission to do that.
That's all I want to know. I just want to make sure it is legal and binding, the letter from the previous.
And again, it's my opinion, and again, it's just Floyd's opinion. I mean, we're speculating. You know, if you guys vote to not give her this money and she appeals it and takes legal action, if I've got to bet my house on it, you know, she's going to win, and then we're going to owe legal fees and other things to boot. So, Commissioner Smith.
Yeah, I just want to say that she's been handling our business for many years. And I think everybody in here trusts her completely. And I've always looked at this, you've looked at this. I mean, what she's turned in is, I have no doubt that it's true. I mean, I don't think we need to put this off any longer. I think we owe it to them, we owe it to them.
And duly noted. Let's address the motion to table. Right now, the motion has been made by Commissioner Hughes and seconded by Commissioner Steele to table. I'm gonna roll call vote this tabling motion. Madam Clerk, if you don't mind calling it.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Egbert,
Yes.
Commissioner Cunningham,
No.
Commissioner Sykes,
No.
Commissioner Longmire,
No.
Commissioner Carr,
We voting,
We're voting to table the resolution. Then we'll get into the motion that's on the floor to up or down vote the resolution. We're voting,
Okay,
the vote is to table the resolution. Yes, sir.
okay, if you vote, no, that means not to table it or to table.
If you vote no, you're voting to continue hearing the resolution. Do you want to continue hearing the resolution, or do you want to table it?
I vote, I want to continue.
So you're voting no to table it. That would be a no vote.
I'm kind of confused because I think we need to pay her, so I don't.
If you think we need to pay her, you need to vote no on this tabling motion.
No.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to be clear what I'm doing.
Okay.
Commissioner Macklin,
No.
Commissioner Tubbs,
No.
Commissioner Morgan,
No.
Commissioner Cameron,
No.
Commissioner Summers,
No.
Commissioner Cole,
No.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Locke,
No.
Commissioner Paul,
No.
Commissioner Smith,
No.
Commissioner McHugh,
No.
Commissioner Miller,
No. No.
Commissioner Pelley,
Yes.
Commissioner Steele,
Yes.
Commissioner Yergin,
Yes.
Commissioner Childers,
No.
Motion to table resolution number 6 fails. Now to the initial motion. We have a motion and a second on the floor to set up the funds to pay this. Motions have been made and seconded. Discussion been made. Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Now, this is to pay Director Van Dyke.
I'd like to ask Lloyd a question. What kind of precedence is this gonna set with our other employees by going outside our contract?
Well, you know, as the mayor talked about, our problem is we don't have a contract. In other words, everybody's got their own policy. The mayor has been, and previous mayors too, I go back as far as Riley, and there was a move by Ronnie to have one policy for everybody. But that just doesn't, it has not worked yet. There are department heads in here who are elected by the people just like the mayor is, and so they're entitled to come up with their policy. They're also entitled to come up with waivers, and there is Sheriff Shepard and Mr. Riley as well. This was the agreement that they had.
What's the date of that waiver?
It's why he was mayor.
Is it more than 6 years ago?
I'm gonna say it's about 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Do you remember the date on that waiver, Mr. Nita?
And is there a 6-year statute of limitations on this? form?
Yeah, you know, somebody mentioned, but of course Commissioner Hughes is a lawyer, somebody mentioned over here, I don't remember a limitation period, if they weren't a lawyer, but I was thinking, that's an obvious point. I mean, that we have statutes of limitations, but these agreements are continuing because they don't activate until retirement. That's what the agreement was, that it would be paid upon retirement. That would be the argument, Steve, that would be the argument. So it's a, I think everybody agrees would be better to have one policy. One drug policy, one leave policy, one everything. I mean, who wouldn't? You guys are the purse strings for all these different departments, but our hands are tied, but perhaps the funding side of it will give you all a little bit of leverage.
Well, but just like on accruement of annual leave and sick leave, I mean, shouldn't that be, I mean, even if they have the opportunity to change some of the policies in their office of the time and the conduct and all that kind of stuff, shouldn't the sick leave and annual leave time all be universal through the whole county?
I mean, I think I bet 25 people vote yes on that. But all 25 of y'all, mayor about 26.
And I'm gonna say, every single association of county mayors or Tennessee County Service Association statewide meeting we have, this is the same discussion that takes place at those meetings. And until the state gives us the authority to do that, we just don't have it. I mean, these elected officials are autonomous. You know, they've got the authority to set their own policies. And at this point, all we can do, and I'm gonna go back to our purchase order implementation. When we did that, we called a similar countywide department head meeting. We had everyone sitting in this room right here, and we asked them for help. And I said, I need your help. I want to get a clean audit. I want to have a purchase order system implemented. And there was actually a question asked, well, what if I don't want to do it? I said, we're not going to service your invoice.
Right.
You know, you'll be taking stuff back to Walmart, and that's just the truth of it. So we don't have a purchase order number assigned. We don't service the invoice, and it's worked seamlessly. So I'm going to ask for the same help on this. I'm going to say the county commission is very concerned about this. And it's something I want your help doing, establishing this county-wide policy. And we want to ask, what's your policy now? Because I don't know.
You can also segregate that money each year. Let's just say Lanita was due $1,200 for the year. In that budget, they'd have to, put that funds aside and not continue, so we'd always know what it was. Then when she retires, kick it out.
I just worry that we're setting a precedent here
I understand.
that it's not gonna work for other employees. I mean, they're gonna go back to this.
Well, Commissioner Steele, this goes to what you're saying. My first question at that meeting Wednesday, I'm gonna hold up that letter, that waiver she's got, and ask all the department heads, how many other people in here have one of these? I don't know. I hope that's the only one. But I don't know. I wanna find out Wednesday.
Well, I mean, it's not that I question her time or any.
I don't think anybody's questioning it, and I'm certain not.
It's just that I have a time paying overtime to salaried employees. And I have a problem with going outside the policy that we ask everybody else to go with and doing something different. And I mean, that's just my personal beliefs.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir, Commissioner Smith.
Second, Mr. Williams, call.
The motion's been made and seconded to pay the money. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Okay, now this motion to, what are we on now? I wanna make sure.
We're on the original motion to adopt resolution number 6. Motion's been made and seconded to adopt resolution number 6. Discussion has been made.
Okay, now who made the motion?
To Commissioner Lawmeyer and Commissioner Cole. It was made by Commissioner Lawmeyer, seconded by Commissioner Cole.
Okay. Commissioner Hughes?
I don't feel we have sufficient information to make the vote. I abstain, please.
Commissioner Egbert?
No.
Commissioner Cunningham?
Yes.
Commissioner Sykes?
Yes.
Commissioner Longmire?
Yes.
Commissioner Carr?
Yes.
Commissioner Mackin?
Yes.
Commissioner Tubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan?
Yes.
Commissioner Cameron?
Yes.
Commissioner Summers?
Yes.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Nance? Commissioner Locke?
Yes.
Commissioner Carter?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner McEwen?
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton?
Yes.
Commissioner Pillar?
No.
Steele?
No.
Commissioner Jurgens?
Yes.
Commissioner Chips?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. And I just want to stress again that we're going to make another run at this uniform policy. And I'm going to ask all the commissioners in this room to help support me on that. And if you hear from any of the department heads, just be sure and tell them how you feel about it. And talk to them about why we're doing this. Because from a budgeting standpoint, it's a nightmare. So we need your help in supporting that.
Well, that's not fair to the rest of our employees.
I think we just set the precedent here.
We're going to ask the department heads to help us reestablish a precedent. And that's what we're going to do going forward.
Another thing, too, if you don't standardize policy, this is gonna be an ongoing problem.
Well, again, we can't standardize the policy without the help of the other elected officials and department heads. And as it is now, we don't have the authority to do that.
Can commissioners come up with some guidelines involved?
We've got a solid policy right now. We've got an employee handbook that's I mean, I think would reflect just about any handbook you see in the private sector. But the issue is getting all the department heads to sign off on it. You know, getting you guys to vote on it and sign off on it, and then getting the department heads to do something. So that's where we are going forward, and we'll work harder on that in the future. Yes, sir.
I think basically we've all got the same policy. The only difference in this one and all the other departments, at least I know our department does, is the waiver portion. I think when we're bringing this up in the thing, we have to come up with something where the department heads cannot waiver those decisions that we make. Because as long as the department head has the ability and the power to waive it, we're just wasting our time.
I agree. I think we're all ready to move on. Thank you. Resolution number 7 is a resolution to receive and set up insurance recovery proceeds for soil conservation's damage to Polaris Ranger. Do I hear a motion on resolution 7? Motion made by Commissioner Morgan and seconded by Commissioner Longmire. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes?
Yes.
Commissioner Egbert?
Yes.
Commissioner Cunningham?
Yes.
Commissioner Sykes?
Yes.
Commissioner Longmire?
Yes.
Commissioner Carr?
Yes.
Commissioner Macklin?
Yes.
Commissioner Tubbs?
Yes.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Cameron?
Yes.
Commissioner Summers?
Yes.
Commissioner Cole?
Yes.
Commissioner Nance?
Yes.
Commissioner Locke?
Yes.
Commissioner Collins?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner McEwen?
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton?
Yes.
Commissioner Pell?
Yes.
Commissioner Stell?
Yes.
Commissioner Yergin?
Yes.
Commissioner Chill?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Resolution number 8 is a resolution to appropriate funds for local matching funds for TVA Invest Prep Economic Development Grant for an access road project at the Gibson County Industrial Park. And this is something I'm really excited about. It's been a 3-year. You guys need a minute? Thank you. This is a project we've been working on for 3 years, and we've actually took 3 different runs at this project. We're very grateful for TVA to partner with us and to offer guidance and leadership on this project. They gave us 3 at-bats, and that's something you rarely get. We were awarded $350,000. That was the maximum amount awarded across the state of Tennessee. And then we, Lee, I think you remember a trip to Nashville back in November. We went to TVA headquarters or the TVA offices in Nashville, and we were sitting in the lobby, and I said, I sure hope they hadn't called us up here to tell us no. And we were told about the project then. So what I would like to do is just give you guys just a brief history, and I'm going to give you a little scope on the project. I've got a map of the county park I'm going to pull up. I'd like to do this. I'm going to get my student to come back up and help me. Any of you who's familiar with this park, and I'll be honest with you, 4 years ago, I don't know if I would have been talked into taking this project on. One of the things that I've always wanted to see happen, get this thing to work, here we go. There we go. One of the things I've always wanted to see happen, we got a power line that runs across the south portion of this park. If you recall, recently we went through the Tennessee Select Site process to get a permitting in place and to make the park more marketable. But one of the things we did, actually, I don't know if you guys are aware of this or not, now we actually have 2 parks. We've got the Industrial Park North, the north side, and the south side. And what that did was mitigate this floodplain. That's one of the things when we're showing this property. Floyd, I know you've been involved on the rapid response team showing this property many times.
Yeah.
And one of the things we've always had to explain away is the existence of this floodplain. Because when you look at the maps that we provide them, it shows a 100-year floodplain. Now, back in 2010 when we had the big flood, it didn't flood. And that was supposedly a 1,000-year flood, and it didn't flood. So I doubt that it will ever floods. But when we went through the select site process, we broke this up into 2 different sections. There's north and south. This power line runs right through the heart of the south portion. It's something we want to address at some point, but not now. That's what we requested in the first round of Invest Prep, was money to move this power line. Well, they shot that down. The next thing we asked for was a manufacturing access road to be built along McKnight Road and have some bridge improvements done, and they were all for that project. We went and pitched it and gave a presentation. Well, it got shot down. And they gave us a 3rd shot at it. And their proposal was to do an access road, which would eventually become an employee entrance and exit to the park. But for now, it'll be a road we use to show the park and make it look like a park instead of a cornfield that we have now. And I've been involved with, I can't tell you how many times we've shown this park. But when a prospect comes, we'll meet them right here. This to give you some bearings. This is Walmart, Humboldt. This will be the north end of the park. This is Wall Street Grill. And Floyd, I know you've done it many times too. We'll meet at Wall Street Grill. The helicopter will land right here where the cars will show up. Then we load everyone up and we take a ride. We'll pull out, we'll get on Highway 45, come down to 79. We move slowly. We talk about Dana Corporation there. And we come down, hit Back Knight Road, and we go on the backside of the park. And there's junk everywhere. There's tires and beer coolers and everything you think possibly think of along this road. And if it's not too muddy, and it's always, and there's been a lot of times we haven't been able to do it, there's a little gravel road here that we'll take and drive into the park. And if we don't get stuck, we'll turn around and come back out and take them back down Back Knight Road, and we slowly make our way around to the north end of the park. And you can see this road, this is a gravel road that was actually done by the highway department. They were good enough to provide us some gravel. And Mr. Carl, Mr. Carl, how many times you had to bush hog that road for us to show a project? Oh, yeah, we have to actually bush hog the road to show a project when we go through there. But by the time we get back to 45, it'll take us 45 minutes to show the project. We're talking about the incentives and all the things we're going to do for them. By the time we get back here, and I've done it dozens of times, and Mayor Sykes, I know you've done it with me. By the time you get back here, you don't feel like you looked at one piece of property. You feel like you looked at 4 or 5 pieces of property. It doesn't feel like one piece of property. You're lost. I mean, by the time these people that come here from Chicago or Japan or wherever they're from, by the time they get back here, they think they're back in Japan. They're lost. Well, what this project will do, it'll give us the ability, and not only the ability to show it better, but it's going to make it look better. We're going to have signage, we're going to have landscaping, sidewalks, lighting, a 3-lane road with a turning lane, and it'll give us the ability to take the project into the park, into the heart of the park, with a cul-de-sac here, and we're eventually going to have this yellow line as a gravel road that we'll be able to drive them into the heart of the park on the north end and the heart of the park on the south end, and they never leave that park. They don't go around this road, they don't look at all the garbage and junk, and they don't get lost. They look at the park, they load back up in the helicopter, and take off. I think it's a great, great project. Now, can't tell you that they'll guarantee you land a project, but I can guarantee you this, what we're doing now is not working. And I think this is a great opportunity to invest in it, and I want to share it. If you'll look on your budget, Rick, there you go, Rick, turn the line on. Oh, it was about, Mr. Nader, was it 3 weeks ago when I came in the office and said how much money we had left in our capital projects money, and I had no idea what that figure was. I knew about what it was, but if you recall, during those of you that were here during our last budget process, we set up $444,000 thereabout in capital projects money out of our debt service. It was moved from debt service. It was money that went in from our TVA shared assets money, and we moved it one time out of our debt service into capital projects because you'll remember our debt service fund had gotten too large, and the IRS was threatening to tax our bonds, which is a good problem to have. We got a healthy debt service number, and we moved that money. We've spent some money out of it since then, doing a roof repair and a couple of other small things. But when the money was set up, and Commissioner Summers, you'll remember this, to address the issues at the courthouse. We're going to set that money up and have some money to address the issues at the courthouse when the engineering study's done. Well, I got bad news for you. That figure's not going to touch what's wrong with the courthouse. That figure's not going to get us out of the basement of the courthouse. But we'll get into all that later. But it was about 3 weeks ago, I walked into Miss Lanita's office and I said, Miss Lanita, I said, how much do we have in that capital projects money left? And she came out with a number, and if you'll look, the county match is $332,190.90. She handed me a Post-it note that said $332,220. $30 more than we need for the project. Now, putting this money toward that project, it's going to empty out that capital projects account, just like it was empty when we started last year. And we'll have to address the courthouse issues through another means of funding, through another means of financing, and that's going to be up to Director Pilla. It's going to be up to Scott Gibson. We got Scott. Scott, if you would raise your hand. Scott's with Cumberland Securities. A lot of you already know Scott. He's a financial advisor. Did a debt restructuring for us a couple of years ago. Saved us a lot of money. But that's going to be a question for them to answer, how we address the issues at the courthouse and at the fairgrounds and some of the other building issues that we're going to have to be taking a look at. So, and the good news there, and Scott, I think you'll agree with me. The good news is, whatever approach we decide to take, whatever we decide to spend, we've got the wiggle room in our debt service to do that, to approach that, if it's the will of this body to do so. So the good news is the county's in good shape financially, better than most counties, and we're in a good position to approach these things. So I think this is a good project. Commissioner Longmire's been involved. This project, by the way, has the blessing of the Industrial Development Board. It's been presented to them. It has their full blessing. They're for it. And I would hope it'd be the will of this body to use that capital projects money to support this project. And with that being said, I'd like to entertain a motion on resolution number 8. Motion made by Commissioner Longmire, seconded by Commissioner Steele. Is there any further discussion? And I'll be glad to answer any questions. Anybody? Commissioner Carr?
And then taking on this project, is that going to interfere with any other road improvement project that we need to take care of?
Well, that's a good question. That's a good question. There's Highway Department in-kind match. Mr. Carl, I apologize for not thanking you earlier on. Mr. Carl was involved with putting this budget together for us from the beginning, and I know that we went to you several times. I know you worked real closely with Sherry McCarter. We worked countless hours to get this budget put together and get this proposal done. But would you like to answer that, Mr. Carl? Mr. Carl and I actually had this same discussion, Commissioner Carl, and that's a good question to ask.
I think the road board and the highway department realize the importance of bringing industry to our county. The stagnation of our budgets and our exploding costs down there are something we don't like to ask for money when we go into the budget process. We feel like this is a good investment. This will all be done with labor and equipment that we already have, the expertise that we already have, and our road board, as you passed this, to be able to help with this in-kind support.
Thank you, and I appreciate the support of the Highway Commission and appreciate your help on this. It's been a long, arduous journey, and I'm looking forward to kicking the project off. Hopefully.
So Tom, so everybody understands, we're not spending $500,000. This 250 is in kind, labor and fuel and stuff through the highway department. We're actually, the county's actually just spending this $332,000 appropriated.
It's set up now in capital projects.
And it's not coming as we're gonna have to pass a tax to pay for this.
No. Commissioner Mack.
I know you guys always never answer the question, but do we have any prospects of anyone that's really actually looking at this property?
Yeah, I mean, we have active prospects at all times. I mean, you never know. How many, Lee, would you care to guess how many projects would you consider to be actively looking at the park right now?
Since I started in October, middle of October, we've done at least half a dozen RFIs, I'd say, where we've submitted this park. The deal with this park is, I've only been there for 3 months, but what we keep hearing is that it's a very good site. We have a very unique site to have that many acres and the rail and the highway. What this does is take it from a good site to a great site, and that's what TVA has been telling us, and that's why they're investing the money in this.
Yeah, and it'll make it look like a park. I mean, it's a park we should be proud of. And you guys that were on this board when that was done back years ago ought to be proud of that property. I mean, it's a solid piece of property. In fact, I'll venture to say, and if Kingsley Brock with a JRP was here, he'll tell you that it's the best piece of property outside the mega site in Haywood County. It really is. It just needs some polish to it. We just need to be able to show it better. If I'm lost coming back around to where we started, then everybody's lost. Because I've walked from one end of that place to the other and tore down deer stands and picked up garbage and done everything else. But I think it would look good. I mean, it would make it look like a park. It would create some activity inside the park. And once a project's landed, ECD would probably have to bring $7 or $8 million worth of fast track infrastructure money with that. So I think this little bit of investment we make now has the potential to give us a big return once we land that project. I think it's a very worthwhile project, and I wouldn't present it to you if it wasn't.
Mayor, the question I have is why this particular park? I know that just reading the national news that this is a very, very competitive situation trying to get new industry into any particular area. And I also know that there are empty buildings all over Gibson County. The Milan Arsenal is wide open. Supposedly the government is trying to get folks to come in there now. It already has roads and railroads and all sort of infrastructure. How does this work? Say you get a prospect, and I know that Milan has a board. I think maybe other cities have their own industrial recruitment boards. How is it when you get a prospect that you decide, am I going to show them this this property, or am I gonna show them 8 different sites in Gibson County? How does that work?
That's a very good question, and I appreciate you asking it. When a project comes to us, they already know where they want to look at. They got all their homework done, they've done all the research, and they've got it narrowed down to 1 of 3 sites. We've actually shown more than 1 site in the county on any given day, but usually they'll want to look here, they'll want to look Madison County, and they'll blow through and they're gone in an hour. So, but to back up a little bit, the reason we're discussing doing this project in the county park is because it's the only piece of property you own. It's the only piece of property that the county has any authority over. It was funded by the county. The county commission paid for it. It's the only park that we have any authority whatsoever over. Now, that's not to say the city of Milan can come to us with a project for help, just like we did with the McLean Power project. You know, we offered to help the Trenton Industrial Board, and that's just how that relationship is. But to answer your question, there's not another piece of property we can do an improvement on in the county. This is the only one that you, as a county commissioner, have authority in.
And the history about how it was selected too.
Yeah, go ahead, Floyd.
Yeah, and Commissioner Hughes, before around 2000, the 11 sites were submitted. TVA made the pick. 11 sites in Gibson County: Milan, Trenton, Humboldt, Dyer, Rutherford, Bradford, Namalong, Kenton. They all submitted sites. There were 11 submitted, and a TVA committee picked this site as our first countywide park. So that's when we went about purchasing the land from Miss Hazelwood. Later, Boots McKnight, I believe Miss Hazelwood and Boots are the only, the Scouts were part of the track as well. So it was a county-wide search for one spot, and that was the site. So
And so is this particular grant, is it transferable to another site? In other words, if there were another site in Milan that were a better site, could this possibly be through cooperation of the different boards within the county? Could it be transferred somewhere else?
I don't know that.
I can answer that question for you. I was about to add, there's another county that joins Gibson County that has a park similar to ours. And the reason TVA is pushing for this road, a lot of you remember back a few months ago, Gallatin, Tennessee landed the Beretta project. Many of you remember hearing about the Beretta project coming to Gallatin? Well, they had a park very similar to ours. Very similar piece of property, had the same rail access. We were working that project. We had submitted to Beretta. Well, the difference was they had just done an access road just like this. That park sat vacant for 12 years, I believe it was. They did a road project similar to this to better show the property. The next project they showed was Beretta, and they landed it. Was it because of that road? I don't know. But it was the first improvement they made to that park, and it helped them sell it. So that's why TVA is really pushing for this road project. And to answer your question, there's another county, I'm not going to name the county because I'm friends with their mayor, but there's another county that joins us that came in second place to us. If we don't pass this today, they're waiting to take it. So if we don't take it, they will. And more power to them if they do.
And Mayor, I don't want to take up all your time, but the location of the road, I mean, like, it seems like we don't know what the property is going to be utilized for. So if we put this road in a particular spot, there's a chance it's going to be in the way later on as to what comes in and what we're going to utilize it for. Who figured all that out?
Our ECD partners, TVA weighed in on it. They studied where the road should be, and actually, if you look, that road enters at the edge of that flood zone. So anything north of that road won't be developed anyway. That road is on the far northern edge of the south portion of the park. You can't go any farther into that. You can't go any farther north of that road, or you'll be in that floodplain. You won't be able to get permits to build anyway. So that's a good question. It was studied and weighed in on by them. All the engineering that's been done on it was done by Brett Fisher, and we appreciate Brett's work. He's at Allen Hosh from Allen, Memphis, the engineering firm, and that's who helped us decide where that road needs to be.
And I talked to several folks that are on industrial development boards locally, and the one question that came up is if you fix this problem, that is being able to get to it and show it, are there other problems that you're going to have to fix before you can sell it? And from your comments here today, I'm hearing that that's the power line.
It would be if I had my way about it, that would be the next thing we would fix. I don't know how much that power line being there affects us selling that property. And once the project's landed, if it's going to be on the south end, then we can get fast track money to move that power line. The state's going to kick in with us and help move the power line. And that's TVA's position on it as well. It's the reason they supported this particular project instead of moving the power line. They're saying, we don't see the power line when we show it. I don't think the projects are seeing it. Once we land the project, we'll depend on the state to kick in with us to move the power line, and they will. I mean, they're chomping at the bit to do something this part.
And you mentioned that while you're riding these folks around, you're telling them about all the incentives that we're gonna offer them, and I know that that's part of the package, that's what everybody expects. That's, at least that's what the news says. So if we spend this $300,000 that we've got budgeted, is that gonna be your incentive money, or have you got incentive money stuck back somewhere else?
We couldn't spend this on incentive money anyway because it's already earmarked capital project.
All right.
And this is a capital project. So any incentive that would be offered, and I don't show any project that I say we're gonna offer you this amount of money to come. It just doesn't work that way. But we do say, and we're able to say, that the county is in very sound financial position. I'm able to give them the figures to back that up. And I say we've got money to discuss. And this will have to be discussed with you guys. And it'll happen just like the McLean project did. The Trenton Industrial Board came to our board and said, we need your help in the form of this amount of money. Then we vote. The next meeting we have, and did we do a special call? No, we didn't. The timing worked out that it was like 3 weeks before regular meeting anyway. So that's how that works. Mr. Sykes.
This property here, we do get income yearly on the rental of this.
Yes,
already.
we do.
It makes money off, so right now it's,
right.
I don't know what the payment this year was, but
around 60,000 a year. It's depending on crop prices. We get a share of the crop that comes off of it, so you can count on about 60,000.
Does that money just go in general fund?
Well, this past year, if you recall, the Industrial Development Board has the authority to keep that rent money and do whatever they see fit with it. Well, the Industrial Board's account got below $100,000. That's somewhere we don't like for it to get that low. We spent some money on different things, and it fell below $100,000. So we recommended that they keep that portion of the rent money for 1 year. Now they can keep it every year if they want to. They've been giving it back to us as a thank you for buying the property. They've been giving us the rent money. But for last year, just for that 1 year, they kept that money to get their account back above $100,000. That's a good question.
And they're also working on.
We did get the rent, it went into debt service. It didn't go back in the general fund, it went into debt service.
That's right. It had been going into debt service. Commissioner Longmire.
The industrial board's also working on some commercial building ideas as well, and that's what part of that money's for, was the development of that.
Right. The reason the crop money went back to the Industrial Development Board, as you said, they're doing a virtual building project right now. They're voting on it Wednesday, as a matter of fact, and that'll give us the ability to take them into the park and let them see what it would look like with buildings. We can do that at the cul-de-sac. We pull them in, get our laptop out, and show them. And it's also, they're doing a lot of preemptive permitting, so we'll be able to literally get on the hood of the truck and say, what size building did you want? 300,000 square feet. Here's your permits, already done. Break ground tomorrow. And that's what we're trying to, we're just playing catch up right now. We're playing catch up with other counties, and this will catch us up for now. But I say it all the time. Julie Allen Burke, how many times you heard me say this? Economic development never sleeps. It never sleeps. It never stops changing. It's not a pill you take that cures everything. It's a nonstop act of physical therapy, and it's ongoing. Yes, ma'am.
Can I make a comment?
And I didn't recognize you today, the Chamber of Records. I apologize.
That's okay. I just want to address Commissioner Hugh's question about when we get projects and how do we decide what's submitted. And every project that we get, we submit all properties that meet the criteria. We don't have to limit it to one or two usually. So we submit multiple sites for the same projects if the criteria is what it needs to be.
Yeah, they'll send in a request for information, and usually we'll have about 48 hours to get it filled out, sent back to them, and they narrow that scope down themselves. Their site selectors have their mind where in the county they want to be before they ever contact us.
Do all the chambers work together to do that, or is there some amount of competition between?
Our chambers work great together. In fact, all three of our chambers, and I hate to see Shelby Key go because we dumped our 3-star project on Shelby. We've dumped workforce development on Gilly, and we dumped the county park on Lee. And that's in the Invest Prep and Select site, and they've done a great job of doing that. That's not part of their job description, They don't get paid any extra for doing it, and I can honestly say that we've got 3 chamber directors that work great together, and I appreciate all you guys' hard work and on everything you do. So, would they compete against each other behind each other's back? Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm sure they would. If they don't, they're not doing the job very well. You know, so but when it comes down to it, and the project is narrowed down to say the Humboldt Park, they all 3 join together, and they beat that drum together. And I've seen it firsthand with my own eyes, and I appreciate everything they do.
I understand we have 3 certified sites in this county.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
This constitutes 2 sites in this one park, and then the other one's in Milan.
That's 4, 2 in Milan, 1 in the Arsenal, within the Arsenal fence line, and the city of Milan Park.
Right. Okay.
And 2 sites here, so really we have 4.
Yeah, if you look
And
at
we're
the
the
county
only
park,
county
2
that
sites,
has-
you got 4. Okay. Yeah.
Mayor, why does the gravel road go straight to the railroad tracks as opposed to going into the north side?
It was there when I got there, brother.
I mean, this new gravel road that we're fixing to build, that we're proposing to build, it goes straight and not toward the other site. I mean, it looks like to me the other site may be the preferred site.
It depends on the project.
It depends on the project. It depends on how interested they are in rail or not. Depends on the altitude of the park weighs into it. If they've got a smokestack that they want to get above the community to get out of the way, and it's a million different metrics that play into that. And you can build that road anywhere you want it to. Our TVA partners and our economic development, ECD partners at the state weighed in and said this is where it should be.
What is the acreage difference between the south side and the north side?
I would have to look it up, but I think the north end's about 80 acres more, I believe is the difference. It's all good discussion.
Mayor.
That's what I enjoy doing.
I didn't want you to misunderstand. You didn't answer my question. I didn't say this wasn't a good project. I asked, would this cause any hardship on the infrastructure that we already have in place?
No, actually that's
That was
no.
the only thing I wanted to know.
I think Mr. Carl answered that. The answer's no. It's a good project, and I've talked to Commissioner Longmire at length about this. He supports the project, and I think it needs to be done. And I think it'll be a great asset for us.
The budget committee passed it, since when else?
The budget committee signed the resolution. Any further discussion on resolution number 8? If not, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Egbert,
Yes.
Commissioner Cunningham,
Yes.
Commissioner Sykes,
Yes.
Commissioner Longmire,
Yes.
Commissioner Carr,
Yes.
Commissioner Macklin,
Yes.
Commissioner Tubbs,
Yes.
Commissioner Morgan,
Yes.
Commissioner Cameron,
Yes.
Commissioner Summers,
Yes.
Commissioner Cole,
Yes.
Commissioner Name,
Yes.
Commissioner Locke,
Yes.
Commissioner Collins,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner McEwen,
Yes.
Commissioner Littleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Pillar,
Yes.
Commissioner Steele,
Yes.
Commissioner Yergin,
Yes.
Commissioner Chip.
Motion carries. All right. Thank y'all. Lead contact TVA and tell them we're green with it.
All right.
Outstanding. I'm excited about that. You want to go ahead and recess now? Ms. Bonita, being that Chairman Flake's not here to have the delinquent tax committee meeting, you still want to have them meeting?
Yes, we have several bids and I'm prepared to act. Leon has been on that a long time.
Okay.
He agreed that we should go ahead and wait.
Commissioner Longmire's called for a 10-minute recess, so we're going to go ahead and do that. But if you're on the delinquent tax committee, if you'll meet at the front table up here, we'll need about 5 minutes of time. Thank you.